Greetings and salutations everyone, I am as always darthdevious, bringing you another video review, this time from Neca. Their Series 2 in the Friday the 13th series, this time from Friday the 13th, the final chapter, also known as Friday the 13th Part 4. We have again Jason Voohees and Battle Damage Jason Voohees. So we'll be taking a look at them, we'll get them out of their packages and compare them to the Series 1 versions and things like that. But let's get a closer look at these. Put that one back there. We'll take a look at this one. You can see, packaging's almost the same as the other ones. Picture of the hockey mask in the background. There's the poster from the final chapter. On the bottom there, tells you who did the sculpt and all that stuff. On the back, there's a little bit of a write-up, says, after his revival in a hospital morgue, the hockey-masked murderer fixes his vengeful attention on the Jarvis family and a group of carefree teenagers. Young Tommy Jarvis is an aficionado of horror films with a special talent for mask and makeup effects. Has diabolical Jason finally met his match? Now, they really did intend for Part 4 to be the final movie in the series, and then it made so much money. Corey Feldman, of course, was Tommy Jarvis, and he got to kill Jason at the end. So I'm going to get these guys out of this package. We'll take a look at them out of the package so we can get a better look at how they look. Be back real quick. Alrighty, here they are out of the package, and right away I can tell there's a huge difference in the sculpts between these versions and the Friday the 13th Part 3 versions, the Series 1s. Now, the shoes and the pants are the same sculpt on all four figures. These are tan, the other ones are blue, but it's the same sculpt, been reused. That's fine. The upper body on these is completely different because there was a different actor that played Jason in Part 4. The undamaged one comes with a kitchen knife, nice and bloodied up, and also comes with, just like the other undamaged one came with, a regular machete, nicely detailed. Looks like worn scratched metal on there, so it's not just plain plastic, and a nice handle with rivets and stuff like that, nicely detailed. And the battle damaged one comes with this double-headed axe, again nicely detailed as always, and comes with a bloody machete. Now he comes with a bloody machete for a reason, which we'll get into, but first let's just look at these guys. We'll start with the undamaged one, and we'll come up a little bit. And what's nice is you can't really see his eyes unless you look at it at a certain angle. And that is something that was really a defining thing for Friday the 13th Part 4s, is they lit the mask in such a way that you could never see his eyes until the end of the movie when his mask was taken off. And he's very dirty. I mean, look at his hands. They're very dirty. This hand especially. He's got these really long, dirty fingernails. I mean, that's just an intention detail that didn't need to be done, but was done anyway. And, articulation's really good. I mean, head's on a ball joint, just like, the other ones were. This one's slightly limited because of the sculpt on the back of his head here. Arms, 360. They go out, they go in, they go out, rotate. Nice ball joint at the wrist, which is awesome. It's got the ab crunch and the waist, so you can get some really good torso movement. Legs go out, rotate at the upper thigh, they rotate at the knee, and there's a little bit of rotation and movement in the foot. So, I mean, very nicely articulated. Neca really has been stepping up their articulation on figures in recent months. A lot of cool stuff coming on the horizon. I hope they continue with this Friday the 13th line, because it really is becoming one of my favorites here, and I want them to get to a few different versions of Jason that I would love to have in my collection at some point in time. So here we have the two undamaged versions side by side. And they look really cool. I mean, the hockey mask is slightly more accurate on this one than it was on this one, but this is still good considering. He only wore the hockey mask for a few minutes in part 3. He wore it all throughout part 4. And you could see the part 3 version, because of a different actor, had the hump on the back, things like that. And, you know, the makeup effects were different, things like that. So you gotta take all that into effect. But as you can see, you know, the legs are the same, only just different colors. The shirt, much different. Like this one's collar's open a lot more, especially around by the hump, whereas this one's a lot in more. The lower arms might be the same, might not. I haven't really looked that closely, but still, nicely done. Either way, nicely done. Give me a second here. I'll take the masks off. We'll compare their faces without the masks. There we go. So as we can see here, let me bring the camera up a little bit. Much different head sculpts on the unbattle damage versions. One thing you got to know about the Friday the 13th movies: continuity gets thrown out the window. If you ever watch the films, Friday the 13th Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4 all take place across the same weekend. Yet Jason's face goes through so many changes in that one weekend. I mean, it goes from the hillbilly with the bag over his head that barely is mutated but has long hair, to this bald version with the mutated side of the head and the other side being fairly unmutated, to this version where he's really wrinkly and mutated and everything else and just really looks screwed up. And of course the axe wound in his head from part 3. But yeah, all that takes place over the course of one weekend. So I don't know. It is what it is. They're horror movies. There's not supposed to be a lot of logic. Alright, let me get these guys out of here and then we'll take a look at the battle damage versions. So here we have the two battle damage versions. Now this one was designed so that the axe could fit in his head to represent what happened to him at the end of the movie. And he had a little bit more blood on him. This one's got a lot more dirt and blood, especially here in the center of his chest, down here on his pants. Very dirty, very bloody. The side of his head's got a lot more blood on it. The mask is actually starting to get worn because of all the attacks and things like that he's been doing throughout the film. The red parts got worn off, and up here it's gotten worn off. And the mask is getting more dirty and damaged as you go on. So, I mean, otherwise, he's identical to the undamaged one, except for his head sculpt, just like this one. You see, he's got the hump, just like, you know, the other one. He does not. Different actors, as I said. So let's take a look at their faces. Take this one off, and you can see he's got the bloody face from the axe wound. His mouth is actually open. Take this one off. His face sculpt's different. His mouth is a little bit more open, but he's got this gouge on the side of the head. And I know it doesn't look good like this, but it's meant to have this in it to represent the end of the film. So give me a second and I'll put it in there and show you. So here we go. The battle damage Jason with the machete in the side of his head like it's supposed to be. And, you know, this is, you know, what Tommy Jarvis did to him. He whacked him upside his head with the machete. Jason falls. The machete actually slices through his good eye and way into his skull. But yet his body was still twitching, which made Tommy pick up the machete and just start wailing on Jason's back going, "Die! Die! Die!" And that's kind of where the movie ended. And then this Jason actually didn't come back until Friday the 13th Part 6. As Friday the 13th Part 5 was an imposter named Roy. But I know, people know that. Anyway. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies. You can probably tell that. So this is really cool. I like these. If you were going to display these, you would probably want to display the unbattled damage version with the hockey mask on. But the damage version, you definitely want to have without the hockey mask. You want him with that machete in the side of his head, because that's what he's designed for. So, yeah. I recommend these. If you're a fan of the Friday the 13th franchise, you're a fan of Neca, these are fantastic figures to have. I'm glad I have them in my collection. Glad I could share them with you guys. And, you know, you guys be good. I now have 4 versions of Jason Voorhees. One version is practically unstoppable. 4?